Right, so today what I want to do is attempt to remove the top dash, and of course I'll try to do this bottom section here as well. And the idea is for me to remove it so that I can give them a good clean, a good once over, have a look underneath behind where the tunnel is, because obviously one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to be removing this transmission tunnel. And in order for me to do that, I'll need to remove these retaining bolts, which obviously seem to run right across the top. But anyway, I want to get these out, have a look inside, clean it all up as per usual, have a look at the condition and determine whether or not I need to continue work in the firewall area. So these bolts here, and they follow through here, under there, and potentially some more. The only thing I don't know is what's underneath here in terms of wiring and cabling. Everything else seems to be pretty much ready to remove. I've got the wiring out of that. This one here is plugged there, so it's quite easy to do. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and remove all these screws first. Not having the seats in place has certainly made a lot easier to get around and move around the dash. This is one of the things that obviously comes off. So when you do remove these things, they kind of fall apart, or so once you remove that, you can just pop that out. And same with this one here. That was just what looks like to be just a bit of a cover. So all of these will get a good cleaning as well. But it's looking all pretty tidy, I must say. Might have to remove. Looks like these bolts here belong to the top, perhaps, because it is still fairly solid in there. Yeah, you can see that there's the back end, and certainly it's bolted there. So I'm going to have to do a bit more work with these little areas here. Okay, so these ones here I've loosened. Not even sure if they're going to do anything. There's another one over here, which I'm not sure if that's going to have any bearing. That one. And there's another one over here. Again, I'm not sure what's going on there. So, and of course, one over there. Okay, this one's been removed. That one. This one. These two. That one hasn't, but it doesn't seem to be affected by that. Still quite a bit of, I don't want to unnecessarily put pressure on the dash. This plate here is what's actually on the top of the dash. So you can see that when I move the dash, it's actually becoming quite loose. This over here, I think I'm going to have to, it's a matter of just pulling that down. So I don't think that's going to have any impact on it. It's just a matter of pulling that up and out. Got one more bolt there. I've got a screw that I've got to take out. And with these screws here, I'm actually planning on trying to get all new ones. That's what they are. Pretty much standard. What I've taken out from the flooring as well. So that's a good thing. So that looks pretty. See what I mean? Looking pretty good. I reckon where it's been held is in the back here where the windscreen rubber is. See what I mean? Right, so before I do anything else, I just want to make sure that these other components aren't attached to the top one. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But the next thing is, as I said, to see how that is connected. And as I said, without having any seats here, it's actually quite good. You can climb in nicely. So yeah, it actually might not be too difficult. It's a matter of undoing this, I reckon, and pulling the things back through it. And of course I'll need to grab a Ziploc bag and put all this stuff together. You can see how that's been sun damaged. And I don't even know if I can get these anymore. Okay, so I'm going to have to continue with that. You can see this is an example, right? So here, I can now pop that out. And there's a unit. Perfecto. This actually looks like it'll come out as well, this lid. So now it's a matter of just unscrewing that, and I'll get back to you in a second. So I've taken these out and I've put them back together as such so not to lose it. So the only thing that's left is the little blue light, which is just a plug underneath. It looks like I might have to use two hands for that. Oh, here we go. So that's how it looks. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to unplug that in order to then feed it back through the hole. Interesting setup here. So I actually can't and don't want to really touch this light setup here. Looks like it's a single unit. But following the wiring, so the two white wires, I've come to this one here. Now I find it hard to believe that this is actually going to be something out of the factory. So obviously this has been modified at some stage. So that must be the trigger here from this red cable. And the other cable wire comes down to this section here in the back where my finger is here, somewhere in the back there. I'll most likely need to do something with this in order to free it up. Always something, isn't there? But everything else looks pretty much original from what I can see. Anyway, I'm not at all an expert in two-door ranges. This is definitely aftermarket. That one here is, I think, supposed to be an oil pressure gauge as opposed to a fuel gauge. And so we've got these wires running off this gauge on the back here, running through to the LPG tanks. I think that's what it was for that. Although by memory, the LPG might have had its own readout, so this must be the smaller fuel tank. Anyway, irrespective, I'm going to be replacing that and putting the original oil pressure gauge. So let's get back to business here. So I'll need to just undo that, which runs to the back of that. You can see the wire run there. Yeah. And then I'll, as I said, get to the back of this one to remove that. And then once I've got that, I can just pop that whole unit out. And I'll get back to you in a sec. Actually, just showing you this. So I've just removed these two. And looking in the back here at this gauge, you can see I can remove these cables, but you can see that this screw that I'm undoing. Hold on, see if I can get a better shot. There, that one there, which seems to be connected to the wire. So it's almost like an earth. So hopefully I don't drop all this. Looks like there's a whole bunch of other, you can see here now it's all loose, a whole bunch of other other wires there. And really I should just try to pull this thing out, but anyway. Alright, so that's what I just removed. And so now I can remove that. And there we go. That's that unit. So not to forget, I just pop this one back here. Okay, so that's out now. And if I zoom back, the whole dash is pretty loose. Just got to make sure that all the other attachments are out. So that one there. Likewise, I can pull that out. These are fine there. That'll just come out. I'll just put that in there. So in there. And I'll just hide this cable, speedo cable there. And what I'll do is these are the things I've got to remove. And just do a single, gently making sure that you don't put any undue pressure. Because underneath all these will be those things. But they should just pretty much pop out. However, let's not just make assumptions like that. Looking underneath there. Okay. I'm just wondering whether or not you can see this thing's moving as well. So now I'm trying to see whether or not that has any fasteners or anything like that. You can see how that whole thing's moving there. So I'm just going to have a look underneath there and see whether or not there's any additional fasteners. Okay, so things are never that easy. This I've just discovered is a solid piece. You can see the plastic where my finger is there. Is a solid piece that wraps around and joins to these things here. There and there. And also I noticed that this thing here, although it's fairly loose, I'm not sure if that's going to cause an issue when trying to remove the this. See, so that's is for this thing here. The other thing too is that this rubber on the windscreen is perhaps limiting my movement, because I'm thinking that if I can lift the entire dash up and then out, then perhaps that's going to be a lot better. Right, so I'm going to attempt to take this bottom section out here. So what I'm going to have to do is remove the knobs here. To allow me access to and all of these have got a little, oh, there it goes there, little screw like that, and then once you've got that out, then it's just a matter of pulling the actual lever out. Okay, there we go. You can see that's with the little hole there. Now, all the others seem to be out of the way. Oh, that one might not be. Okay. Right, so now the next thing is these things here, but at least it is giving me much more access to in there. Look at that, that's pretty good. And as you expect, it's pretty dusty. There we go. So I can perhaps... This is what I mean by the amount of pressure that's caused by me just... See that? So I just got to be very careful that I don't crack. Although I'm pretty sure it's a lot more pliable than I'm giving it credit, but still, that one's already out. So I just got to remove this one and see how we go. Okay, with these things, as I was just showing you, when you're trying to pull these out, I found that by, instead of trying to do this, which then flexes that on the dash that I just showed you, obviously the best thing to do is to twist it. Just to give it a gentle twist side to side like that until the adhesive, you can see that adhesive cracks and breaks off. Right, so again, that's feeling a lot more freer. But again, this thing here mates to the back here. I'm not sure you can see that. I'll just try to move the plastic. You see that? How it's trying to come out. So I need to figure out a way that I can lift this out and up. Okay, well, I've almost taken that out there, but I'm a little bit concerned about putting too much pressure. Here we go. Aha! I think we might have something here. There we go. That's loosened the... Yeah. So I'll do the same for the other side. It's going to be damn interesting to put it all back together though. But I'm going to have to do it the proper way, I think. Got to lift it up to clear the vents anyway. You can see there. Right. I just need to do this with two hands. Just to make sure that I don't crack something. That's the last thing I need. Right, so now this is all loose. I think we're pretty much close to being able to pull this out. So just gently, I'm going to see if I can lift it up. There we go. There we go. Right, just making sure that nothing else is stuck there. Right. Okay, I'll just grab the camera. Yep. Okay, so dash is out on my lap. And that's what it looks like. Not in bad condition actually. You can see under here where the window sill is, just underneath the window sill. She's all pretty clean, as in rust free. So that is good. And this is the bit that I was trying to negotiate when removing the dash. There's a whole lot of God knows what all this is. That looks like a sock. How a sock got in there, I don't know. No, I'll have a look through here. These are like spacers, obviously. So I'll have to just consider those. Right, so back to the dash. Underneath is, as you expect, no sun damage, so obviously it's pretty good. I'll give it a really good clean up anyway. And those were the 5 nuts that I had to take out earlier on in order to free it. This mesh here is not too bad condition, and I've just realised there that we've got that metal trimming, which is what was probably, if I can just gently put that there like that, here we go, You can see it started to come out like that. So I just need to have a look at making sure that that's in position as it should be. Right, so the next step is going to be the cleanup and then the linseed oil that I used when in the other video that I tried it out on a couple of the other panels. And of course I'm going to remove this at some stage. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not sure how much I want to remove. I don't know if I need to disturb this, given too that the dash here is actually in pretty good condition. No rust there. So perhaps in order to simplify the project a little bit, I can tidy up in here, give it a good clean, look at the condition of the wiring and all that stuff, change that underneath the dash. So these things here looks like they're pop riveted in, which I'm not sure what's going on, because you can see there's actually movement there. It's probably the pop rivet between the base and the top, I suspect. These ones here are screwed in, so they'll be okay to take out and clean. Same here. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to remove these 3 nuts to remove the base plate underneath. So if I flip this around a bit, that's the base plate there that I want to give a good clean, a gurney with the Karcher. But aside from that, underneath here's okay. It's unfortunate that the other side's sun damaged. And as I said, I'll take these out. And I'm not sure what's going on here. This looks like it's been either at some stage hacked or don't know. It's difficult to say. It looks like that you unscrew these and then you pop out the mesh. So again, looking at it from the top, it's that mesh there. So quite a bit of cleaning to do in the next video.